When you fly into Quito and you see these clouds open up and you see these valleys in the Andes, completely green, a country that is full of oceans, mountains, and jungles. Such a mix in such a tiny country. The diversity is absolutely incredible. 283,561 kilometers. This diversity is easily accessible because it takes 8 hours to go from left to right and 12 hours from top to bottom. That's how small the country is. You need 2 weeks to discover this country, the diversity and everything that comes with it. There are these small communities on the edge of the Andes scratching out a living everywhere. Holstein cows on steep slopes everywhere. All you see is black and white dots. It's amazing how these paper-thin soils support life. This country has these spectacular natural attractions everywhere, especially where topographies are meeting each other. These cascades and waterfalls are absolutely everywhere. Just spectacular to see them in action. A constant mixture of movement and colors. This country is incredibly colorful with all its changing sceneries, and everything seems to be in constant motion from the clouds to the colors that you're photographing. There are so many little towns nestled in all these little valleys, and they grow right up to the edge of the mountains. Spectacular views in all directions. This makes you very, very small, feel very small. You will realize the immensity of the Andes the moment you visit this place. The landscape will absolutely humble you. It is so overwhelming and there's so much of it. The major cities, Quito and Guayaquil, are full of nightlife and great shopping and all kinds of other heritage sites and lots of things for you to experience and see. It is an old city, Quito, and it has lots of heritage buildings that are really important to see while you're on your trip to Ecuador. The natural beauty obviously lies on the outskirts, but if this is your starting point, make sure to experience Quito for at least a couple of days. Every little city or town will have a church built to their best abilities. There is lots of influence left over from the Spaniards during their reign. This last image is from the Andes, from Colota Lake, and I want to describe what happens with Ecuador. It is split right down the middle by the Andes, and in the other direction the equator runs through Ecuador as well, splitting it into 4 parts. This tourist map of Ecuador shows how many locations there are in this split up country: ocean, mountain, and jungles. So many locations to see. Our favorite city is Loja. That's where we built our eco lodge, and everyone is invited to come. Here's some images of what we built, and everything is growing crazily. Here's one of the units. We invite anyone to come. So never leave out the cloud forest when you're coming to Ecuador. It is a part of the side of the mountains, the Andes, that are facing the ocean. A very different climate, always moist, lots of hummingbirds, lots of strange birds. Very active place for you to experience Ecuador at its best. So the next layer is jungles. Hopefully Ecuador can copy the success of Costa Rica and keep these jungles biodiverse and alive. This is definitely the last stronghold for biodiversity. Ecotourism is expanding in Ecuador, and it should, because this is the best way to save and protect these jungles from being wiped out and harvested for lumber. There's a big population of natives still in these jungles doing their daily things. This is a very hard area to access from Ecuador, and it's accessible mainly by boats and some 4x4. There's a lot of birds of distinction. The jungle noises are everywhere. They will really surprise you. The water is teeming with life. The water surface is always bubbling up. You will not know where the sounds are coming from because there's so much going on in these jungles. There are creatures that you could never imagine. They are so big, so plump, so beautiful, so colorful. If you're going to the Amazonian jungle, make sure that you plan this event really well. Book in advance. This is not an easy trip. You need some help with this, most likely. And you need to be organized on this. So this might be your last chance to see all these spectacular animals, and the habitat destruction is a big issue. Biodiversity has to rule this country. The next geographic area are the beaches in Ecuador. The shorelines have all these little villages. The beaches are mostly empty, and there's lots of accommodation and great food on the shoreline. So a great place to visit in Canadian or American winters, possibly the best time. And lots to see, quite organized. The beaches are very wide and enable lots of space for everyone to be on their own. The sunsets are spectacular on these oceans, and definitely a place to go to warm up your bones and to enjoy a different culture. Definitely a place that you should consider. The Galapagos are a very special place in Ecuador, very sensitive to tourism, so you have to be very cautious and very respectful of the nature. Everyone wants to have this walk with these giant tortoises. It's on everyone's bucket list. The Galapagos is an archipelago, and these islands are spread out over a certain area. And this area is removed from the mainland, so it's a breeding ground for many birds and many other animals.